be talking about food prep. She is a health nut, so I'm sure that by the end of today's meeting, we will learn how to go home and make other recipes and meals that are delicious and healthy. We'll see how much fat is in hers today. We'll compare. Please join me in welcoming Tracy Brecke.
I didn't have time to put any recipes in today, but maybe that will be another speech. Who knows what's for dinner tonight? For a lot of people, you don't know. You go home, you scour the fridge, the pantry, the freezer, and try to come up with something that will all go together and that your family will eat. Not for me. I know not only what's for dinner, but pretty much all of my meals all week long. And it'll take me about half an hour to prepare dinner once I get home tonight. I've been doing food prep for years. So I've been doing it so long that I can barely remember when I didn't do it. I forget that most people don't really do this, except I was having a conversation with a coworker a few weeks ago about how our weekend was, and he said, "You really do that? I've only heard of people who do that." In the event that you are the majority who does not food prep like I do, I thought I would share today my reasons for food prep and the process that I go through each week so that me and my family can eat. I started prepping meals about the same time that I got serious about working out. I had made a commitment to a more healthy lifestyle, and this was one of the ways that helped me achieve it. When I have meals and snacks already prepared, I'm much less likely to eat out or grab a bag of Cheetos that are in the break room, because those things don't necessarily correspond with my healthy lifestyle that I'm trying to achieve. Weekly, around Wednesday, I start to think about what I would like to eat the next week. I think about what my cravings are, what I haven't had in a while. If I'm really desperate, I'll ask the husband for his opinion, but I try not to do that. I then go through my recipes in my pantry and fridge and make up my grocery list from there. Now, how much food do you have to make, you're probably asking. I typically make 2 to 3 breakfasts because one recipe usually makes at least 2 servings, and then I can rotate the days that I eat it and have a difference all week long. I make 3 to 4 different dinners, and then I only need to make about 2 lunches, and I fill in anywhere I need to with leftovers. On Thursday, I go grocery shopping. Now, I've noticed that I buy much less food at the grocery store. I used to go in and I'd have a few staple items, but the rest of it I would get the stuff we need and once again, try to think about what could we eat, what will go together. Now, with my list, I know that all of these foods will cover my entire week. It has reduced my impulse shopping for sure, and also when you have no plan for the food that you're buying, I would usually buy it, go home, it would sit in my fridge, and then I would end up throwing it out because I never had a plan of what to make with it, and I wouldn't make anything with it. On Thursday night, I also get out all of my meats and proteins from the freezer. I shop at Costco, so I have chicken in bulk and everything else. So I pick out what I need, put it in the fridge to get the frigid temperature off of it. And then when I get home on Friday, everything's ready to go. Now, there are a few different ways that you can do food prep. You can take one large chunk of time, or you can do it in convenient times whenever works for you. There's definitely pros and cons to this. If you take a large chunk, it's about 3 hours, but you'll only need to clean your kitchen one time. The problem with doing them throughout the weekend as you can, like I do now, is that you have to do the dishes every time you do that prep. Now, hopefully you guys have learned or have seen the popular action of singers dropping the mic. That's kind of how I feel after I've finished my food prep. I just want to drop the mic in my kitchen, which includes knives, spoons, pots and pans, cutting boards, and just walk out. Although there's less dishes nightly, you're definitely condensing all the dishes into one giant, massive dish pile. Now, what do I really mean by food prep? The stages are different for everyone. Some people just like to cook everything thoroughly all at once so that you only need to reheat your meals throughout the week. And then some things you can actually just prepare and then you'll cook them throughout the week. I do a little bit of each depending on the recipe, but for all my recipes, I cut, measure, and proportion everything. So for a crock pot meal, I'll have everything put into a Ziploc gallon bag. The morning that I'm going to eat that meal, I just take it out, dump it in the crock pot, and we're good to go. For any kind of casseroles, I cut everything, put it in the baking dish, and if cooking it will take longer than an hour, I go ahead and cook it on the weekend. If it won't take longer than an hour, I just cover it and put the dish in the fridge and take it out the night that we're eating it. For breakfast, I eat a lot of combinations of eggs and egg whites, so I go ahead and measure those out, put them in a little Tupperware shake bottle, and the morning that I cook them, I just shake the bottle, pour it into the pan, along with any of my other pre-cut vegetables, other toppings. If I'm eating oats, I measure those out, they're in Ziploc baggies. I'm kind of not a morning person, and so anything that I don't have to do extra in the morning gives me more time to sleep. When I just have to warm up some oats, dump the eggs into a pan, or put the blender attachment on my smoothie cup, it's so much faster than if I had to actually cut those things. Also, if I didn't have this stuff already done, I probably wouldn't eat breakfast. I would grab something on the way to work or would just forego it altogether. This preparation gives me much more time than I'd otherwise have. Our dinners consist of going home, pulling something out of the fridge, cooking it either in the oven or stovetop. Like I said, it usually only takes about half an hour. This reduces our nightly dishes, which I had already covered. And the reason that I started food prep in the first place was to let me control what I'm eating. So if you have any certain goals or restrictions, you can definitely plan ahead if you prep your food and you're not in such a time crunch, which is when I typically grab for the things I shouldn't necessarily be eating. Hopefully you've learned today how food prep could be beneficial to you and you might think about incorporating it into your weekly schedule. Thank you.